A father does the unthinkable to his own 1-year-old son, and you won't even imagine his reasoning for doing this. Let's get into this case of this despicable human being, Nathaniel Edmonds. Welcome, lambs. Welcome to Love and Murder, Heartbreak to Homicide, your midweek mini edition. Hi, my name is Kai, and I'll be your host. If this is the first time hearing Love and Murder, go ahead, take a seat, take a listen all the way to the end, and if you like it, don't forget to subscribe. If you're a returning lamb, as always, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your continued support. I also want to thank our sponsors, the Lamb Patreons. If you want to be a sponsor of Love and Murder, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder, where you can get bonuses, case extras, and so much more in our Patreon. If you're not ready to be a sponsor, you can still head on over to the Patreon and sign up for free. That's another way that you could subscribe to Love and Murder so you don't miss an episode. Plus, you get other benefits for signing up for free. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. Now let's roll right on into your midweek mini. At 2:40 p.m. on September 18th, 2024, police in Front Royal, Virginia responded to a 911 call. A mother had come home from work to find her 1-year-old son unresponsive in bed. Medics from the Warren County Fire and Rescue rushed the toddler to Warren Memorial Hospital, where doctors pronounced him dead. According to the child's mother, she had left for work that morning, leaving the child's father, 24-year-old Nathaniel Lee Edmonds, in charge. When she returned home, her son was dead in his bed and Nathaniel was missing. Authorities immediately launched a search for Nathaniel using cell phone tracking to find him walking along US 522 North, which is basically like around 7 miles away from the house. Officers arrested him and took him in for questioning. During an interview with police, Nathaniel waived his Miranda rights and allegedly confessed, quote, Edmonds was read his Miranda rights and confessed to choking his 1-year-old, using both of his hands for minutes because the child was not listening and he couldn't take it anymore. Nathaniel allegedly went on to say that he saw his son foaming at the mouth but made no attempt to get medical help. Instead, he ran from the house, leaving the child alone in bed where his mother would later find him. Court records revealed that Nathaniel was no stranger to violence. In July 2023, just over a year before the murder, he was arrested on domestic violence-related charges. Following his arrest, Nathaniel was charged with second-degree murder and sent to jail, where he currently remains without bond. They gave the name of the jail, but I'm going to try and say it. Rappahannock, Shenandoah, Warren Regional Jail. So the first one, I hope I said it correctly. Now, I searched and his next court hearing was scheduled for December 19th, 2024, but so far I've seen no updates. And as we know, for some reason, these things take some time, which I don't understand why, because he confessed. He has a clear background of violence. He strangled the kid with his bare hands. To me, open and shut case, Johnson. So what are we waiting for? Front Royal police have not released any information about further details citing the, quote, ongoing and sensitive nature of the case. However, members of the community spoke up. One neighbor described Nathaniel as having a, quote, troubled past and noted that he seemed, quote, stressed and overwhelmed in the days leading up to the murder, which this is not an excuse. Not that the neighbor was making an excuse for Nathaniel. I'm just saying if Nathaniel is going to try and use this as an excuse, I have a kid and it was and still is stressful. You know what I do when I can't take it anymore? I either send my kid to their room so I could have some me time, or when they were younger, I literally sat outside my house until I could get myself together. Like one time when my child was little, like very little, and I couldn't take it anymore. I just went outside my front door and I just sat there against the front door and I just cried. And then, you know what I did? I put on my big boy panties and I went on back to being a functioning effing adult. That's life. I just can't believe some people. And what is the justice system waiting for? He's currently in jail with a bed to sleep on, 3 meals a day, books to read after he strangled his 1-year-old son with his bare hands. And Lambs saw him foaming at the mouth. What the bloody are we waiting for? Okay, pull yourself together, Kai. This case serves as a reminder that when someone shows signs of violent behavior, intervention could mean the difference between life and death. Do not stay with violent people. This PSA goes out to men and women. Once someone shows you their propensity for violence towards you or your children, take that as a warning sign and leave. There are 0 excuses for a level of violence that anyone within the home should fear being in their own home. 0. There is not. He had a bad day at work. I was about to curse. Screw that. Be an adult. Figure out how to deal with your bad day. The food wasn't cooked right. Get up and cook your own damn food. Whether it's a man or a woman. There is 0. No excuse for a level of violence where anybody should be afraid or uncomfortable in their house. Do not stay with violent people. And if you're a violent person and you want to change, get help. I know some people feel like they don't want to do therapy, like, oh, therapy is for weak people. You know what else is for weak people? Hitting your children and your significant other. That's weaker than searching for help. So if you don't want to be that angry person, if you actually feel remorse that you don't want to take out your anger on the people you love, do not feel like you can do it alone, because 9.9 times out of 10, you cannot. Go get help. And if you can't afford therapy, maybe start talking to somebody. Choose one person that you know and trust with your life, that they really care about you and they really want to see a change in you, and talk to that person. Or call one of these free hotlines, whether it's like one of the suicide lines, not saying that you're suicidal, but at least somebody that you can still talk to, and they'll give you advice. Something. Do something instead of just sitting there thinking, I don't want to be like this anymore. Because just thinking about it is doing nothing. I mean, I know it's the first step, but how long are you going to stay on that first step? Get some help, even if it is as little as just talking about it. There are people who can help you, and there are people who can give you alternatives to punching your significant other or hitting your child. They'll help you figure out options when you're in that anger mode. But just sitting there thinking, I don't want to be like this anymore. It's the first step, yeah. But if you've been stuck on that first step for the last 10 years, then it's shit. Okay. I jumped down off my soapbox. Okay. All right. I'm back. Okay. So that is the case of Nathaniel Edmonds, who his son wasn't listening and he couldn't take it anymore. So he choked this poor baby to death. He saw him foaming at the mouth and choked this poor baby to death. And now he's just sitting cushy in a jail waiting for his trial and all that stuff, which I don't understand. Anyways, as usual, you heard my thoughts. Let me hear your thoughts. Sound out in the comments below. Let me hear your anger towards this man. And as usual, I will read your comments in an upcoming episode. And speaking of comments, let me read a couple past comments from past midweek mini episodes. As usual, if you missed those episodes, the links are in the show notes below. The first comment is from the case of the Arkansas parents who left 5 children in a hot car to bake. Oh, that no pun intended, but that one had me heated too. It was the case of Justin and Deja Rollins. So Vicky Stevenson said, CPS fail all over the place and needs investigating. How many times do we hear of their failures? correct, Vicky. Freaking correct. There are times when they are helping, but most times when I'm doing these cases, you're hearing of their failures, and it's getting kind of tiring. And the next comment comes from, oh man, I remember this one. It was Crystal Candelario. A mother lives her best life on vacation while her infant was left to die. This went on freaking vacation. I think she went to Puerto Rico or something like that, and left her infant in the house, and the baby starved to death. Like, oh my God. I was so mad. And Alicia says, yes, I'd be standing there in handcuffs because I'd have tried to strangle her. Look, girl, same. That's why I can't be in law enforcement. Oh, But anyways, and another thing about this, people were like, if you can't say their names, don't do true crime. Her name was too close to Calendar. And also it was like I kept mixing it up, Candelario. And also what I had to tell those people, which I did tell those people, you're so much focused on me messing up her name, and let's focus on the fact that she went to vacation and left her child to frickin' starve. Literally, honestly, who gives a flying frrrr about her name? I don't care. Honestly. Focus on the wrong thing here. But anyways, if you missed either one of those cases, which trust me, you want to hear them, the links are in the show notes below. So go ahead and click on those links, listen to those cases, leave me your comments. I want to hear from you. Even though they're old cases, I still want to hear from you about them. I want you to share your rage, your anger with me, because who knows? People who are on the verge of doing the same thing might hear how society views your stupidity. And then they might be like, oh, you might take a step back. Oh, maybe this isn't the way to go. So let me know your thoughts. Write your comments. I will read them off in future episodes. And that is all I have for you in this midweek mini. As usual, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon, whether you want to be a sponsor or you want to be a free subscriber. You do get benefits either way in there. Patreon.com/loveandmurder. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.